So at number 10, we have Algeria, which might look small and similar to size compared to other countries. But if we bring it up, we can see that it spans the entire of the United Kingdom. And if we bring it here, all of Central Europe or most of Central Europe, and it goes from Sweden or the top of Norway down to the north of Poland. Okay, and then we can also bring it here and we can see that it encompasses Colombia and half of Venezuela. And then, but yeah, its size compared to Europe is outstanding. The ninth largest country in the world is Kazakhstan, and we can see why. It encompasses Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, and it stretches from Ukraine to France. Once again, encompasses the United Kingdom, takes up most of the Nordic countries. But yeah, Kazakhstan is just a huge country, much of the Mediterranean Sea as well. And if we put it here, we can see that it goes from Portugal to around Istanbul, Turkey. Yeah, but Kazakhstan, yeah, it's the ninth largest country, a huge country. Takes up the eighth largest country in the world is Argentina, which we can see stretches from Gabon to the top of Libya. And when we bring it to Europe, it stretches from the bottom of Greece to the north of Norway. So it's a very huge country. It also goes from the United Kingdom to Algeria. And if we take it to Asia, we can see that it goes from India to Kyrgyzstan. But yeah, Argentina, eighth largest country in the world. And yeah, once again, massive compared to Europe, takes up all of the Nordic countries. The seventh largest country in the world is India, which might not look big on the map, but if we bring it to, for example, let's say Europe, we can see it takes up all of the Nordic countries, takes up much of Central Europe, and if we put it next to the United States, it's the width of the United States and more. Takes up much of the South American countries, but India's seventh largest country, and yeah, once again, takes up all of the Nordic countries, which is a theme as the countries get bigger and bigger. At number 6, believe it or not, we have Australia, which might not look that big on the map, but if we bring it to Europe, we can see that compared to all of the other countries, instead of just taking Central Europe, this takes almost all of Europe, excluding the Nordic countries. Then if we bring it down to Africa, we can see that it spans the width of Africa. And Australia is 7,692,024 kilometers in size. And yeah, we can see it's massive compared to other countries, compared to the United States. The United States is still bigger, but it takes up a lot of the United States. At number 5, we have Brazil, which spans from Morocco to Gabon. And if we put it in Europe, it takes up almost all of Eastern Europe, including the Nordic countries. And it encompasses so much land. Brazil is 8,515,767 square kilometers. And if we bring it next to countries like India, it goes from India to Kazakhstan. Yeah, but Brazil, 5th largest country, absolutely massive. The 4th largest country in the world is China, which once again, it looks big on the map, and it is big in real life, but it's hard to imagine just how big it is, because as we can see here, it takes up almost all of Europe. It stretches from Mauritania to Sudan. And yeah, it's the width of South America at any point. And it's also the width of Africa, except North Africa. Here, if we put it next to the United States, we can see that it takes up many large states, even some of the Canadian states. Yeah, China, 4th largest country, once again, absolutely massive. The 3rd largest country is the United States, and it looks big, and it is big in real life. But if we just put the United States here, we can see that it takes up all of Europe. Isn't quite the width of Africa, but towards the lower part of Africa it is. It's the width of South America at any point, and yeah, it can encompass so much land and is bigger than so many different countries. It's the third largest country in the world. And yeah, so America, third largest country in the world. The second largest country in the world, right above the United States, is Canada, which we can see why, seeing as the size of its states. As we can see here, it encompasses pretty much all of Europe. It's the width of Africa and South America. And yes, it's also bigger than South Africa. Canada is 9,984,670 square kilometers in size. Finally, the largest country in the world is Russia, which as we can see is bigger than Europe, is the width of Africa and South America, and yes, way bigger than countries like Canada, the United States, China, and it stretches from the tip of Somalia all the way to the East China Sea, which is just amazing. If there was a Russia in the Indian Ocean, it could stretch from Mozambique to Indonesia. It could be a huge land bridge. But yeah, Russia, the largest country in the world, coming in at 17,098,242 square kilometers.